Thank you for being here, Mike.
No, thank you for asking me. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Mm, Me too. We talked almost every other day for hours,
hmm
so I don't know how this conversation is gonna go. But can you introduce yourself for the people that don't know you?
Yeah. So my name is Mike. I go by Mike G the Creative on Instagram and almost everything else. Um, Predominantly a photographer, graphic designer. Slowly getting into writing and slowly getting into web design, just because they all kind of like intertwine. I've been doing photography for about 13 years. I did the math. 13 years in graphic design, kind of about the same, but not really. But that's a whole different story. But yeah, 13 years. I was thinking about it recently. I was like, if I had a kid when I started like photography is a teenager now. Like it's about to drop its you know what. Like it's crazy. Such a long time. But yeah, that's predominantly what I do. Maybe a little fun fact about me. Uh I play piano. I think that's fun. And me gusta anime right now. I get my little phases, so I'm in the anime phase right now, so I'm gonna own it. And I'm based out of San Antonio, Texas.
My podcast talks about your royal mess. So, amidst all of these changes that you had in your life, there were a lot more personal things happening. Do you have something that could be viewed as a mistake or a chaotic like part of your life that you would like to share that gave you a lesson later on after years or that shaped you into who you are?
Yeah, there's one that I'm still I don't want to say suffering the repercussions of tiny bit. I'm more so seeing the residual of it a little bit. But one of the biggest goofs that I've done that hit the hardest, that has brought a lot of shame to me, more so that because I made the choice, not so much the choice itself, but so back in I'm just kidding. No, this was like right before no, during COVID actually. 2020, 2021. So I was dating somebody. I met her in like 2019, I think. And um I had shown her what I do from day one. So back then I was doing more boudoir photography. So like
Mhm.
more intimate photos for people who don't know. And not so much as I want to say. So if you want to look it up what that means. um so I was doing that, and I know that's a tough pill to swallow for any potential relationship to be with, to
Mhm.
see like, hey, this is the type of work that I do, these are the type of photos that I take. Like is can you handle that? Because I know me and my end and how I like work, and I don't like to um like cross pollinate between my personal and my business world.
Mhm.
So she said yes. I showed her the photos. She said she even liked looking forward to seeing what I created next. Cool, love that. Um so then 2020 happened, everything slowed down. But then right after everything started like letting loose and letting up, my business, that's the most I've ever made. I still have a screenshot from the most I've ever charged for one photo shoot, and it was like
Mhm.
3,128. Because it was 3,000, but then it was like 128 in tax.
Mhm.
I still have that screenshot. I was like, I can't believe I just charged that card in one hit. It wasn't like, oh, let me split it up in payments. She's like, no, you can run it through the card. I was like, what? Like, are you sure that's it's 3,000, not
Yeah.
300? She's like, yes, bet. So then I was making that almost every weekend. Sometimes I would
Mm.
do two a weekend, and I was doing really well. But I was also doing headshots in between. I was also doing a lot more branding stuff because I was getting brands sending me, either they would pay me to do it or I would get free stuff. So I would do like a lot of brand shoots for like products. And so I was doing that, and then her and I were getting a little bit more serious, and I thought about like, you know what? Okay, I think I can make this my person. So then we went out and we looked at some rings, and I bought a ring for her. I then go I don't get to see her dad that often just because he lives in another city. I uh whatchamacallit? So I got his blessing too on top of that. And I was ready. And then she caught me asking for his blessing. And she was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, he said yes." Like, he was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I asked him for his blessing and he was okay with it." And she was like, "Oh, so soon?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like, we just talked about this. We just went and bought, I just paid for the ring. What do you mean so soon? Like, huh? So I was, when we got home, because we were at like an event, and I told her, "Hey, I got the ring. Your dad said yes. Guess what's coming next? Like, I are we gonna do this or not? Because I don't want to ask you and then like have to like hear the no. I'd rather just avoid it." And she's like, "Well, I don't know because we blah blah blah." I forgot what she said. And then she started having a problem with what I do. Wait, how do you know her? Where did you guys meet? Wait, so you're saying you don't like ever want to like date or go further with your clients? I'm like, no, like I don't shit where I eat. Like, oh damn, can I cuss? I forgot to ask. Okay. I was like, no, I don't shit where I eat. Like, I don't like I there's some reputations that you earn, and that's one of them I don't want. That like, oh, he sleeps with his clients, and then it turns into, oh, so the only way I can get a shoot with him is by doing that. Like, I don't need that. I'm making 3,000 shoot. Why would I fuck that up? Like, it just, to me it didn't make sense, but to her it didn't. She's like, no, I find it hard to believe and blah blah blah. I was like, look, you can come to one of the shoots too. I don't care. She was like, no, because I would hate to know that what you tell me, you tell them. I'm like, oh my God. And this went on for like 3 months. And so the royal mess is coming up. This is a very long winded build up for it. But I was like, you know what? Okay. I got two options. Well, three. I can either let that part of my business go because I still had the headshots and I still had the branding stuff. I can let her go, or I can just keep continuing doing what I'm doing and hope for the best. And I was like, okay, what's more important to me right now, currently? And I guess I was in the ego because I'm like, I'm making 3,000 on a shoot. And I'm still making pretty good money with headshots. Pretty sure whatever else I do is, I'm just gonna, be good at it, and then it's gonna be fine. Getting a potential family to me felt harder at the time. I was like, well, fuck it. So I told her, you know what? I care about you and I care about this and I care about starting this. I think I'm just going to let go of that part of my business. I'll continue doing headshots. I'll probably switch over to more portrait shoots. I'll keep doing the branding stuff and we should be fine. So I made the choice. She never gave me an ultimatum or anything, so I'm not going to blame her for it. But I chose to let that part of my business go. I had to start turning clients away, and so then everything was fine for a little bit. But even the headshot clients became a problem. I'm like, okay, so it wasn't that. And then, I mean, there's no way I'm going to let go of photography completely for somebody. At least I knew that at the time. But I was like, you know what? I no, I like this is, and then I wasn't tracking how much I was truly making from each department, for lack of a better word. I can't think of a better term right now, but like from headshots and whatever, it was all going into one account. So I just kept on seeing money, like a lot, not a lot, but a lot. And then I didn't realize how much. Like, that's why I keep emphasizing the 300, 3 grand, until I noticed it wasn't there anymore. I was like, oh, that was sustaining everything. Like, the headshots were just literally the side of macaroni. Like, it was the fries to the burger. Like, I gave up the burger. So I was like, damn it. Okay. So then I started looking financially unstable to her. And that was kind of like, I guess, turning her off. And I was like, no, I think you just want an out. And
Yeah.
then I tried to pick it back up. And I was like, okay, let me start like doing everything I was doing before. It was like, okay, here we go again. And then she ended up breaking up with me in February. I think it was like a couple of days before Valentine's Day. The only reason why I remember this pretty well is because we had a winter storm here in Texas. I mean, I know everywhere, but Texas, we don't see snow. Like we're too close to the equator. So like we got snowed in. It was so cold. I've never experienced cold like that in my life. Like I think so here it was 19. I know I saw 14 Fahrenheit at one point, which I think is like 30 minus 30 or minus 30 for y'all, I think Celsius. I forgot how much because I know 33 and 0. Yeah. So if that was zero, it had to be like 40, almost like damn near 40, negative 40 for y'all. Um, so I've never felt cold like that, but I knew that's the only reason why it's so ingrained in my head. But anyways, I let go of that. She breaks up with me. She then gets engaged to somebody else 3 months later on my birthday weekend. Her and I were dating for almost 2 years. Like we just needed a couple weeks to hit 2 years. And like she breaks up with me and goes with this guy. And then I'm like, there's no way that we're just dating for 3 months. And he said, hey, I want to marry you. I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure it started going on before. And that's
Yeah.
why she had started getting jealous about what I was doing and questioning everything I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So she probably was already doing it and seeing how easy it was for her, how it could be easy for me doing that kind of photography. Like, how am I not tempted to bite the fruit?
Oh.
So that point felt like my lowest point ever because one, I lost my business that like I've always wanted to do and have, and it was actually doing well. I was so close to having a family, which is something always wanted to do. I lost
Mm-hmm.
that too. So I just felt like the things that I really wanted most in my life were taken from me, and I couldn't recover fast enough. And that's when I started becoming a teacher at Paul Mitchell, and that's where I started teaching hair or barbering. But that made me feel like almost like I have nothing else to live for. And not in the sense that like I had the suicidal ideology or anything, but more so like to keep me going to oh, sorry. My camera died. Let me turn it back on. My bad. Okay.
It's okay.
Um so yeah, not so much that I felt like I don't want to live anymore, more so that I didn't have anything to motivate me to keep on going. I lost all drive. I lost everything. It's just like kind of like what's the point now? I had everything I've always wanted. It was taken away from me, and I can't get it back because when I was trying to get back the boudoir side, it just wasn't coming. Like
Yeah. It's like you
I'll
lost momentum.
everybody's stimulus checks ran out, and then
Mm-hmm.
everybody had to start working for real, and everybody got their regular pay again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and one of the reasons why I say I still feel like the residual of that is because like even once I tried a little while ago, like sometime last year to do the boudoir again, I was like, this is the worst time because like the economy is not so great right now. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
either looking to spend, to save, or
Mm-hmm.
if they do spend money, how can they turn $1 into $2?
Mm-hmm.
Boudoir doesn't do that. And I was even talking to a friend of mine who's big here in San Antonio for boudoir. Even it slowed down with him, and even he had to start picking up doing headshots and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
like if I were to try it again, I just this is not the right time. So that's kind of why I was saying like I still kind of feel the residual effect of it a little bit. Um but it has made me I don't want to say stronger because I don't feel like strength from that. Or maybe and I just don't see it. But I do feel more like inclined and or not inclined in line with who I am and what I want to do and who I want to be. So like I know that I I learned or saw the consequence of me changing myself for what I think somebody else wants of me or how I think they want to see me. And I'm never going to do that again. Like
Yeah.
if you don't like the kind of designs that I do, which I doubt it, but like if you don't like that I'm a designer or that I'm a photographer and that I live my life this way, then like you're not for me. I'm not going to try to mold myself for you. Because back then I used to put women on a pedestal, thinking like, okay, you're supposed to give them world, right? Or that's my idea of what I learned through nothing. Like, just that's just what made sense to me through movies, music, whatever. And I would put people on the pedestal, or I was a very big people pleaser, so much so that I gave
Mm-hmm.
up that part of my business, and something I've always wanted to do, like something I've been striving for years, and I just threw it away because of a girl who ended up throwing me away anyways. So
Yeah.
um that is when I've learned, okay, the next person I that comes into my life, not, I won't say has to accept it, but has to understand that it's a huge part of me. Doing
Mm-hmm.
photography, I am going to photograph still people. I mean, if I do get a boudoir out of nowhere asking me to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the chances are slim, but like, that's just my way. I'm just trying to explain that, like, that's what I'm going to do. So I've learned I've truly now know the importance of putting myself first, and
Mm-hmm.
then everybody else can come in second. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
people take that and flip that and make it to myself only. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, it can't be me only. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta, again, put myself first, other people second, and then go from there. But I think had I not gone through that, I would have eventually resented her and eventually felt upset that, like, okay, I gave up my photography business for this. And like, I don't know, I don't think the trade-off would have been fine, because the more I think about it, I really took a lot and I really molded myself a lot to please her. And I'm glad I didn't decide to do that for the rest of my life. I know there's divorce, that's a thing, but like, I didn't, that's just not how I think, I guess, at the time, where I'm like, no,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be it forever. um
Yeah.
so
Well, no one starts a relationship thinking, oh, I'm going to get a divorce. Everyone thinks that it's going to last forever.
true.
And when you are changing who you are for that person, you're hoping that they're going to compromise in some aspects and meet you in the middle for you guys to last together forever. But
Right.
it's not always the case. I think, from what I hear, and it's something that I experience too, when you start changing yourself to be accepted by someone, they continuously expect you to adjust to them. And the minute you draw a line and say, hey, this is it, no more than here, then they start questioning everything.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
you changing your entire being, because as we talked earlier, you switched careers and paths in so many different ways, and it sounded like you finally found something that you were really passionate and good at but also paid for. And removing that, I'm sure it was not out of a whim, but removing that must have been a very hard thought and decision process that you had to go through.
Yeah. To me, it was like dying, taking a bullet for my significant
Mm-hmm.
other. It was very noble, very like, do you not understand what I just gave up for you? Like, this is
Yeah.
love. Like if I didn't love you, I wouldn't have done this. So like, that's how I thought about it at the time, which is stupid now. Well, I mean, it's not, but like, I'm just like giving myself a hard time. But like, yeah, at the time, it was like me dying on the sword for somebody, and like taking that bullet to, like, for this, all for the name of love. So,
Yeah.
um, but like, come now that I'm outside of it, and now that I can see everything, I'm like, this was the worst, best thing that's happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
because now I've learned to put myself first, and then because of the freeze, I had already bought a couple of books, and I was like, you know what? Cold as shit. I can't do anything because, like, I don't know how to drive in the snow because I've never seen snow. And then the one time I do see it, it's the worst experience ever. My house is on a hill, so I'm worried that, like, my car's just gonna slide into another person's thing. Like, I don't want to do that, so I'm just gonna stay inside. Um, Luckily, we had water, but the power kept going out because the grid system here sucks. and they were giving allowance to certain areas. Okay, you get like 30 minutes of power. Okay, we got to take it from you to give it to somebody else in another area, and then we got to keep on. It was a shitty cycle. Some places lost both water and electricity. Some people just lost water only, because a friend of mine lived near a hospital, so they had to keep it on. So she got lucky there. Some people lost both, and it's crazy how many people died from the winter freeze, because again, at least for people who grew up and who were born in Texas and never ventured out, didn't know the simple things of like, you don't want to light a charcoal grill or any kind of grill inside the house, or that you don't want to get in your car with your garage enclosed, turn on the car for the heater. Some people died, a whole family died from carbon, what's it called? Carbon poisoning, because they were so
Oh,
cold because their power was out. They decided to turn on the car, turn on the heater, but they left the garage door closed.
oh my
So they
God.
ended up dying. One
Oh,
older man, I think he was like 70. He was doing something. He wanted to go outside. I think he had his grill outside. He slipped and fell and hit his head and died. Like, so many people died from the winter freeze, um,
wow.
which is crazy. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So what I was doing, I had these books and I started reading them because I had time. So it was two books that like changed a lot for me. One of them was the one I mentioned earlier, Mindset by Carol Dweck. How we both have, or not both, but we have growth mindset or fixed mindset.
Hmm.
And then Real Artists Don't Starve. That one helped me out a lot too, because that one was more so how to embody the thoughts and the persona of being able to be an artist, but also being a business and be able to make money off of it.
Yeah.
And like, it was there where I learned, okay, if I were to want to be an athlete, I have to start thinking it like an athlete. So whenever I see a scenario, okay, would an athlete take the stairs or take the escalator? Would an athlete eat the pizza or eat the salad? So like, that's kind of what he was talking about, like embodying
Hmm.
your artist. So if you want to be an artist, what would you do? Would you be more free and whatever, or would you be more technical? Like that was kind of like the main impression I got from the book. There's more, but that's the one that landed the hardest. And then from there, I forgot. I think it was Atomic Habits I read after. So the combination of those three is what changed my mindset to, okay, you know what? This sucks. Everything that happened, done it before. I could do it again. And I now have a different outlook that like whatever position that I'm in my life, it just means that I'm not where I want to be yet. Not that it's not meant for me. Because the moment I think and I'm so sure it's not meant for me, I'm not going to do it. So I just kept on going. And then that's when I was able to become an instructor. That's where I started learning how to be a better presenter, better communicator. That's where I started learning how to um, speak on what I know, not what I think, which is a blessing and a curse. I've been learning that.
Yeah.
And I've been able to be a better presenter, better teacher, better speaker, and it's helped me out in so many ways. I've never really truly had fear of public speaking, but it just made it so much easier that I can go from one person to a 10,000 person room.
Hmm.
It's the same for me because I have the structure and the knowledge to be able to do that. So then I started teaching photography, and it's been snowballing slowly. I just wish it was going a little faster. I am That's what I'm saying. I still am seeing the residual of it a little bit, because in the sense that I'm not at the income level I used to be, but I'm
Yeah.
starting to slowly see an inching closer to it. It's getting a lot closer than I give myself credit for, or what it feels like. But I think that has been my royal mess that I've done, one, to myself, and two, that has the biggest impact and that hit the hardest, and that like was the biggest lesson ever, because I want to finish it off with so last year, well, October, a friend of mine invited me to his birthday party. Her and I met through this mutual friend, right? So I think I have to put. I don't want to say names. Never mind. But like, so I have a buddy. He has a friends with benefits. My ex is her best friend, so that's how
Oh.
he met her. So then I found out that she was like trying to hook up with him, or not hook up, but like interested in him.
Mm,
He invites me over. He didn't know that. She told me later. And then, so I met her there at the bar, hanging out with him
mm,
because he didn't want to be alone with her. Because I think he also had the vibe that she was going to try to get with him. Her and I clicked. Her and I started talking. Showed her my pictures that day of, so to avoid this big royal mess that ended up happening. So then, I go to his birthday party. I see his friend, right? I'm like, oh, I haven't seen you in forever. How's it going? Blah blah blah. The little stupid small talk. And then he tells me, Mike, so I have some news for you. You're not gonna be happy. I'm like, what? And he looks over at her, and I look over at her. I was like, no. He's like, yeah. I was like, damn it.
she was there?
I'm like, she ended up showing up. She's like, so she's coming. Your ex is coming. I'm like, what? Why? Like, she knows you and I are friends. She knows I'm gonna be here. Why would she? I don't know. So then she shows up. I was like, okay. I was like, I really don't feel like meeting the husband because they finally got married. And I really don't feel like meeting the husband. I really don't want to have to explain how I know her because I'm going to be honest because I just don't care. And she showed up by herself. I was like, interesting.
Oh. Hmm.
So she
Okay, so
started doing,
she knows you're gonna be there because you are one of the
right,
best friends. And she shows up without the husband. Like, girl, that is premeditated.
right. So then we do the small talks like, okay, let me get out of the way. And I did something I've never done either too, which I'll tell you in a little bit. But like, uh, I go up, do the small talk just because I want to get over with, and I just want to like get on with myself, right? So
Hmm.
then, like, hey, how's it going? I asked her how's it going twice. I was that like, I have no idea. I was that dumbfounded of why you're even here. I was like, sorry, I already asked you that. Like, no, everything's good, everything's good, cool. And then one of our mutual friends was there, so she goes and talks to my ex. She was like, "Hey, Mike told me you got married. Like, congratulations." And she was basically, like, "Man, it's all right." She was like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm sure you're happy, right?" She's like, "Well, it's not how I thought it was going to be." I was like, "Interesting." So she comes and tells me that after, right? Obviously. So I'm like, okay. Let me see if I got this straight. She knows her ex is gonna be at the friend's birthday party, right? She shows up with no husband, knowing that her ex, is going to be there. She went in with a motive.
Hmm.
So
That's
it's like,
nice.
and then where I had the aha moment, or like the like, oh my god, like that was the biggest bullet or whatever.
Hmm.
Had everything gone through the way I thought it was gonna go through, or go the way I thought it was gonna go, I would have been the dumbass at home while she's out with her friends trying to rekindle with her ex. That was gonna be me.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that
I'm
could have
so
been
glad
you.
that I wasn't.
Yeah.
That I was gonna be the dumbass at home while she's out there trying to like either hook up or whatever the
Yeah.
hell she's trying to do. Like,
Yeah, the dumbass that is trying to grab pennies because you left your career and passion for her.
right. And then now it's not, we got trouble in paradise. So like now she's trying to like, I don't know what she was trying to do. And then when she left because her friend got super drunk, they left, and she ended up texting me like, "Hey, good to see you," whatever. I was like, "Yeah," and then that's it. No, I think I just left her on red. I can't remember. I'll check later. I'll tell you
Mm,
I'll tell you the cheese man on Instagram.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
so that was the sealed the deal of the aha moment of like that was going to be me, the guy at home while she's out with her ex, and
Hmm.
like he's none the wiser. He's not gonna know. Like I could have done whatever, and he wouldn't have known, and that was gonna be me. Because like I don't know what made her think like, oh, maybe Mike might be desperate enough or stupid enough or whatever the fuck she was thinking.
Yeah,
Like,
how dare she? Like the audacity to think that she can just try and come back later. See, but You trained her that way. So there are
True.
times, there are times that I also have personal issues that I go like, how dare he do that to me? But then you look back and you created that monster. People only treat you the way you let them treat you. If you let
Right.
them see you in a way they wanted to mold you and see you and take advantage of you, and you let that happen over a period of time, you train them. So if they
Right.
come back with the exact same way they were treating you because you allowed, it's not audacity, it's just custom. It's
True.
just,
She maybe thought I was gonna be like, "Hey, nice to see you again. Like, what's good? Like, what are we doing?" She probably thought it was
yeah,
gonna be that, like trying to get her
mm,
back or something.
yeah.
No.
But you learn,
Absolutely not.
you read your books, you did some growth, you learn that you can cut the cord.
Right. And I've learned how to detach from somebody else's um validation. And
Mm,
um I've never admitted this to anybody or anywhere, but one of the books that I read that really helped me a lot too was No More Mr. Nice Guy. That also solidified a little bit how I think now, and
mm,
help tie the connected dots. um so like I started realizing that because I growing up was, well, my dad passed away when I was 9 years old. I'll try to make this short, and not a sob story. And then my dad's side of the family stopped talking to me when I was 12. And with my mom's side of the family, it's very small. So it's just like my mom, my aunt, my uncle, and then my grandparents. But then, um, so because I grew up without a dad, it was predominantly my mom, my aunt, and my grandma that took care of me and raised me. So I grew up with more feminine influence and more women influence.
mhm.
So I started to learn and see, oh, I can understand women a little bit better, or I have a better, I'm more in tune with with them. And then I felt what I thought was right and was wanted. So I unintentionally put women on a pedestal because also, even though yes, I was raised by my mother's side and my mom, and not a fault at her at all, but like we never would say we love each other, or we never gave each other hugs, or we never did that.
Mm,
I knew that she did, but we just didn't.
mhm.
And so whenever I got that from somebody else, it felt good by somebody else being another
Oh,
woman. I wanted it to cling on to that because it
mm,
felt nice. It felt like, oh, this is what love is. And I don't want to let that go because I've never had that. So then I would go above and beyond and be the Mr. Nice Guy to thinking that's very virtuous and very
mhm, mhm.
that's what I need to be and who I need to be to keep that and not let that go. So that's why I had the mentality of molding myself
Yeah.
to that, and that's why I had, okay, it makes sense to let go of the business because I got what I've always wanted. So here we go. Um, and then reading that, I'm like, oh, okay, it's because I've had that disconnect, and I craved that so much that I would mold myself to have that. But
Mhm.
instead, I now am molding myself to, instead of trying to think like what's going to be my ideal partner, I'm more so focused on how I can become the ideal partner.
Exactly.
And I guess in a way, it's still me molding myself, but it's me molding myself to who and how I want to be,
Mhm.
not so much molding myself to an individual. This is what she likes. Let me mold myself to that. More so like, okay, I know I want to be a protector, provider, like
The
I was gonna say the
masculine
basics, but
energy.
like, right, exactly. Because I didn't realize how little of it I didn't have.
Mhm.
And how much more feminine energy I had through growing up with women. So I started learning these the contrasting in what and who, not that I'm supposed to be, but I want to be. Because I really don't like it when people tell me like, no, you're fine just the way you are. I'm like, well, then that means I can't become better. That means
Mm,
I've capped. And that means I can't become who I want to be if I'm perfect just the way I am, which I'm
mm-hmm,
not. Like
mm,
there's who I want to be, and I'm not there yet, and it's okay because I know if I keep putting in the reps or keep putting in the work, I'm gonna get there. So,
yeah.
uh, yeah, that's where like me like now starting working out um almost every day. I go either 5 or 6 days a week. That's why I started learning how to box so I could be a little bit more of a defender in that mindset or that aspect. Um,
Mm,
I even have a firearm so I can protect my home and whoever I'm around. So like I'm doing all these things to become that person. And the last thing on my list is food. I'm like that's the one that's hanging on the most. I've been disciplined in everything else. I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I stopped almost everything, every vice you can think of.
not
The
the
only one my body's
tacos.
still hanging on to is food. Yeah. I just love tacos and pizza. Those are my two kryptonite. Like it's hard for me to say
Oh.
no to those things and wings.
Mm,
That you can't.
mm.
Yeah, wings, pizza, tacos, that's my kryptonite. But everything else I'm okay with. Like I don't crave burgers. I don't crave fried foods. I don't even like fries. like
You can do all three because I eat those very often. You just need to eat pizza thin crust, not the fat crust. Eat the thin
not the one
crust.
with the cheese in it.
No, it's yeah, yeah. Not the one with the feel.
What you
Oh,
mean? At least you didn't tell me the
yeah.
cauliflower pizza because that would have been like nope.
You know what? The cauliflower pizza is actually good. I eat the cauliflower pizza.
I haven't tried it, but
It's
I
good.
will.
You know what? Try it. Try the one from Trader Joe's. It's
Okay.
good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll try that. But but I am proud of who I am now. And I am proud that like I've learned my values or my value in myself and my beliefs and that I don't have to change it. I just have to find somebody that will align with it. And if they don't, that's okay. Because I've grown to the point where I'm so okay with myself and by myself that like it's more so like I'm including you in that, and if you don't
Like
like
the
it or you're
cherry
going to
on top.
disrupt it, right, you're the complement, you're the supplement, not the source. Like, and if you are the leech or the parasite to my life and my journey and my happiness, I don't need you. like
Okay,
like
I have the same mentality. Maybe that's why I like being single because I want the cherry on top. I don't want,
right, yeah,
yeah.
you want all the cuddles and everything, but you don't want to the the bullshit that comes with it.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I
I
feel you.
think that the happier you are with yourself, the more you accept yourself, the less you care about being accepted. In life is so much happier when you only have to take care of how you feel.
Mhm. Exactly.
You just focus on what you want or how you feel, and the people that really truly matter. Like for example, for me, my children. I do need to take care of them. I do need to care about their feeling and their emotions. But if my partner, who is supposed to be equally as supportive as I'm giving, is acting like one of my children, then that energy is not deserved to be given.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I
I don't.
1000% agree.
Yeah, and it came to down to your girlfriend too. Like, why was she going to give up for what you were giving up? Like, we never heard that part of the story. What were things that you asked her that she could have also given up or adjusted to you? And I bet you never asked her to any of that.
I didn't. I
No?
didn't ask her for anything. Just her love and her attention,
Yeah.
I
So,
guess. But
like I said earlier, you trained her that way.
right. Exactly. Because now I'm at a point like how you were saying, like you are more happier by yourself. That like I am 100% okay now, not needing or wanting to please anybody. that like if we're not aligning, I don't, it's okay. Like I don't.
Yeah.
It's okay that if you're not in my life that way, like I don't really need it because I'm so okay and so fine. Like it's so liberating. I wish I could have. I wish I could find the better words for this, but it's so liberating to not have to want to force everything to work out of fear of losing somebody or not having that anymore. Because if the not having that anymore is better, then why would I fight to keep something that's not better for me, that I convince myself that is?
Hmm. Because you think it's
So
caring. You think it's, oh, I don't want to give up. I want to love. Love can, overcome all this, but to the
right.
detriment of your own mental health, your own
Hmm.
character, and then to your own morale, because you won't be happy.
No, I would be I was a doormat. I would let people walk all over me.
Yeah. And that,
Both.
that will translate not into her treating you like a doormat. People around you that see that, how she treats you and how you're adjusting to everything she's telling you to be and do, they are also going to like, hey, maybe we should try it too,
Hmm.
right? And then you have friends that do that to you. And then you have her
Yeah.
family members do that to you. Your own family members do that to you. And then next thing you know, you don't even know what you like or who you are.
Right. Yeah. Thankfully, my closest circle didn't, want to take a taste of it. But to an extent, I guess, because I used to drink almost every Friday, and that's one of the reasons why I gave up alcohol because I was like, there's so much drama that comes with it,
Hmm.
and like I don't want this to be my life. But then once I stopped drinking, I stopped hanging out with a certain person. Or not, I shouldn't say stop, but I just don't see him as much anymore.
Hmm.
And I started thinking, like, wait a minute, that night. Oh, there was more to that night too. The when she came by herself. So there was another girl that I used to talk to. She shows up. I'm like, oh my god. And then I had a friend of mine that I invited over. I was like, dude, I'm like, I just put my arm around her, like, hey, you want to pretend to be my girlfriend for tonight? She's like, yeah, why? What are we doing? I was like, I was just joking, but I had my friend pretend to be my girlfriend. And then so I would forget because I'm like, why is my ex here? And why is that other girl here? And then the other girl's trying to talk to me while I'm with my girlfriend, quote unquote, and then right next to me, and she's trying to like flirt with me. I'm like, if this really was my girlfriend, I would really be putting her through this right now. And
Yeah.
then I would forget. So my friend, I love her because she kept the role. So she would sometimes like grab my beard and like kind of like remind me. I was like, oh yeah, sorry. Like I would like hug her or whatever. And then even she got like, I don't want to say frustrated, but it was like too much for her too, like the whole drama thing, because the other
That's a
girl started talking to
lot.
me and she was like, hey, how you doing? And she always does the same thing. She'll start with me and I don't reciprocate because I don't this is bad for me to say, but I don't care. She's married to a guy named Mike, also has 3 kids, smokes like a chimney. Her teeth, I hope she doesn't see this. Her teeth are already kind of like rotting a little bit. I'm like, no. And because she's like still legally married, but even when she wasn't going through the process, she was still trying to talk to me. I was like, dude, you're married. Like, what are you doing? And the dude's name's Mike. Like, you're gonna call the wrong one someday. And I was, this is the
I
story of my life. So
I
then
think you should not go to this friend's birthday party anymore.
that's what I was gonna try to go full circle on because I was thinking about it. And I'm like, this is my life. I was like, wait, no, it's not. This is his friends, his life spilling over onto mine. So the
Mm.
problem was never really the alcohol. It was not him necessarily, but it's his life. Because that was she always did the same thing. She started with me, I didn't reciprocate. She would try to go with him to make me jealous, but then it wouldn't work. So she just kind of like stuck with him. And then she would like at the end of the night go with him. I'm like, why don't you just go straight to, your final destination where you're gonna go anyways? So then I'm like, how is this? yeah, this is my life. Like, this is what I guess deserve or earn or whatever. But I was like, no, it has nothing to do with alcohol. It has to do, I don't want to say with him, but with him. And
The
it's just
circle,
sad
that
because,
circle of friends.
yeah, because he's a really good person. There's nothing truly like wrong or anything about him, but his ideal of having fun is drinking, which is, I was almost gonna say fine, but like it's fine at moderation, right?
Hmm.
And whenever him and I went out, it was to see how stupid we can get. And I don't know, I don't like that. Like, I don't recover the same anymore. So yeah. So long story short, the only reason why I brought that up too is because like I've learned to be more disciplined to create the person I want to be, which is again
Hmm.
going to the gym, not drinking anymore, not having my vices, and really just finding me. And it's crazy how sometimes I see podcasts of people talk like, "Oh, you're gonna lose friends or whatever." Now I'm kind of
Me
seeing it
too.
because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do after 8 that has no alcohol.
Hmm.
I don't know where to go. Like, I was like, oh, let me try to like take you out to a coffee shop. They're all closed, like at 9 or 10. Because who the hell wants to drink coffee at that time? Aside from
Yeah.
me, I just want chai tea. Or like, and then I'm like, oh, but I don't really like bowling. I don't know that like pool is a nice first date, or I don't know. So like, then like my friends like, hey, let's go out and drink. I'm like, sure, but I'm just gonna be drinking water. Like, I'll go hang out and talk. But then after a while, I start hearing their speech impediment kick in, and then they'll start like slurring. I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna go because now I just got like, I'm hydrated now, but I don't know. It's just, and it's also been eye opening that back then I needed liquid courage to like to have fun, but like I don't really need that to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, where I learned that I truly don't need it anymore because I'm 6'4", which I think was 193 meters in Canadian everywhere else in the world.
Centimeters.
Centimeters, not
Centimeters.
meters. Yeah, yeah, you're right, you're right. 193 centimeters. So that's tall. And I would always feel like if I went out dancing because of my height and because I'm not skinny, but I'm not fat, that I stick out more because I'm already taller to begin with. That if I were to try to dance, like I need liquid courage to make me not hyper fixate on what I think people
Hmm.
see or whatever. So where I realize, you know what? I cannot, I shouldn't depend on the alcohol for me to want to have fun and to do that. So I finally got my own courage, not the liquid one, to go up and dance with a friend. And
Mm.
that's where I started. That was the aha moment, or the like, huh, I really don't need this and I can do anything I really want to do. And I don't need it to have fun. I have my own courage now. I don't need to take a shot before I need to go do something scary anymore.
Mm.
Like, I'm not
Yeah.
dependent on that, which is awesome.
Yeah. Sounds like you had that was a huge learning curve. That going through that breakup, losing your business, trying to recover, seeing the residual, mess, and then
Hmm.
just that it was a huge learning curve for you. And it sounds like you're still finding your way up, you're still learning, but I think you
Yeah.
found also the joy in the growth that you're experiencing. Because those are how moments are going to
Hmm.
continuously happen, are they're going to compound, and then you're going to say, oh wow, like, yeah, my circle is getting smaller. Oh, I do actually have more money because I'm not spending money on liquor. And then I'm making,
Yes.
like, I can actually work more because I don't have hangover days. Like, it will
Hmm.
compound at an extent that I think that is the reason successful people continue to be successful or more, because shit gets together. Like, the ducks start aligning even when you're not putting
It's
them on a
crazy.
line.
Yeah. And like, I wish there was a better way to express and show like it's so true what certain people say. And I know there's myth, truth to everything. Just kidding. But like, there is some universal truths, and some of them are those like, things do compound interest, and
Hmm.
where you set your energy and your mind to like it will happen. One example I used to give to my students was like, have you ever had a job you hate, but you still got good at it? Most people say, yeah. I was like, you got good at it because you kept on doing it and repetition
Mhm.
and like
Yeah.
you kept on getting better and progressing at it. Now imagine doing something you love. You're gonna get good
Yeah.
at it whether you like it or not if you the more you
Yeah.
keep doing it. But because you love it, it's gonna go faster or it's gonna be better, right? So like that's how I feel now, which like you nailed it on the head, which is like, yeah, the story's still kind of being written. I'm still
Hmm.
kind of seeing the residual of it, but I think I can talk about it now because it's like I'm not in the mud anymore. I'm not in that like bottom
Hmm.
pit
Yeah.
of it.
You're
I'm up
here.
here now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how we were talking about earlier, like, does the story always have to have the ending, or does it always have to have a lesson to it? Because like some stories, I'm still going through it, and it's still currently being written. But
Hmm.
I think I'm out of the uh, the dark chapter.
Yeah. Um, from all the people that I've talked to record the podcast, none of them are in the phase where they said, "I learned my lesson. This is it. I can close the book." They're still writing the chapter. They're still in the journey of. I still see the residual of the lesson, but that is my stepping stone to go higher, right? And I'm
Hmm.
sure you're gonna have other things, more shit coming your way that you're gonna be able to overcome and then rise above and step a little higher,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think it
you're
is
gonna
almost like a. I'm sorry.
just go ahead.
I think it almost is like a book instead
Hmm.
of a chapter. Like I have closed certain things, like
Hmm.
I was talking about earlier. Like I've overcome in my lesson of like not wanting to bend over backwards for somebody, or I've learned the lesson of not letting go business for somebody else. Like there is many lessons that have closed, but I think I'm still in the overall book, and I had chapters closed, but I'm getting closer to the end of the book. Because I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be a full on like trilogy. Like I think once I close this chapter or this book, there's gonna be a
Yeah.
new one. It's gonna be
Yeah.
the uprise of me having my brand business, and then it's gonna be
Yeah.
whatever happens. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is gonna be more of a trilogy or like a box set of books versus
Yeah.
like one essay that I'm trying to finish.
Yeah. And life is like that.
True.
We just continuously learn and we witness things. We witness, we hurt, we enjoy it, we learn from it. And I think we actually end up dying when the lesson kind of fades. When we learn everything that we needed to learn, I think that's when we can say, wow, I'm done.
Yeah. And what's cool, I don't know where my mom got it from, but I got it from her. She told me that she heard a quote or somebody say that like at the end, I'd rather die with memories than to die with dreams.
Hmm.
So I'd rather die with the memories of me trying everything that I've been wanting to try or everything that happened versus the memories of like coulda, woulda, shoulda, or I should have done
Yeah.
this, or I wish I would have done that.
Hmm.
I think there's a study somewhere that like hospice nurse, that was the one thing that they heard the most right when they're about to die. They
Hmm.
regret what they didn't do, not what
Do.
they did do.
Exactly.
So at least I know that right now, currently, I don't have major regrets. The only regret I have is that letting go of my business. But even then, not truly. Um, I think it's still there. I think it's still a slight regret, just not as heavy as it used to be.
Hmm.
But I think if I had any, that would be the only one. But at the same time, that was still the lesson that I needed to become who I am now.
Yes,
So I
exactly.
don't
That's it.
regret it truly.
Yeah. You need to have some sort of regret because that's going to keep you in line to not make the same mistake, right? Because
Hmm.
you remember, you know how it feels. That's why you regret it because there's an emotional attached to it.
Right.
And then you're not going to make that mistake and you're going to be able to see other options.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the most royal one that I've made, that I'm still recovering from. But I think it is what has helped make me who I am today.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Maybe if you got married with her, we would have never met.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, it would have never happened because I wouldn't have
See?
gotten into the
Storytelling,
because the more I started
right?
learning how to do this, I'm like, story is king at the end of the day. Like, because I started thinking about it, even the music. If there's no story, if there's no nothing, it's just noise. Movies.
Yeah.
Imagine a movie with no story. You would just see people. It would just be even documentary needs story, right?
Hmm.
So that's where I noticed that was my weaker part. Is I have a hard time, or I didn't have the proper tools that to be able to tell stories and to be able to like be more engaging or whatever. I always wanted to get to the punchline to the end. That's
Yeah.
why I still am really bad at telling jokes because I just want to tell the funny part. But yeah, like yeah, if it wasn't for all of that and me reading Artists Don't Starve, it's written more for writers, but anybody, but like because the guy who wrote is predominantly a writer, and
Hmm.
that's where it snowballed, and that's where I started like, oh, okay, what I need more now, the missing puzzle to my post, that I'm not just like putting a platitude or putting like like yes, you can do anything, like, and then that's like me
Hmm.
being positive, or what's it called, toxic positivity.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally believe in that.
um so I like that I'm able to tell more substance now, and my posts have story, which is what I felt was
Yeah.
missing. And so yeah, if that didn't happen, I would have never been uh where I'm at now, and I would have been curious to want to learn how to tell better stories, and I would have never met you.
Yeah. There
So
are
I'm glad
things
that
that
happened.
there are ripple effects to everything.
Yeah, because I like you way more than like her, and she's stupid. So I'm glad it happened.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's one of a story. I
Right.
hope she doesn't hear it.
I doubt it, but even if she does, I don't give a shit. You
Maybe
fucked
she
up.
should hear it. I'll send it. I'll send her to the link of
Right.
Facebook. Wow. Well, thank you. That was a vulnerable share, but you did it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. This was awesome. Appreciate you.
Yeah.